Welcome back to the Inside Out Shift, the space where we go behind the polished bios and into the real stories of women who've left conventional paths to build something which is meaningful, aligned, and fully their own. I'm Evgenia Baikova, Gallup certified strengths coach and founder of Fulfillment Coaching and Consulting. I help women create businesses that work, feel good, and get paid by leading from who they truly are. And today's guest is someone whose story and work align beautifully with that mission. Jhorna Hochstedler is known as the Whole Person Activator. She guides women, light workers, and change makers in reclaiming their connection to themselves so they can live from internal clarity, confidence, and creative expression. And her journey, can you imagine, is deeply powerful because she was adopted in a family of a different race and grew up across several countries. Along the way, she navigated life with a neurological condition and wrestled with understanding racial injustice here in the United States. Through all of that, she reconnected with her divine intuition and found a profound sense of inner belonging. Through her work at inner resonance coaching, she helps others heal from inside out, releasing core wounds of trauma and oppression and returning home to their own wholeness. Jhorna, welcome, and I'm so happy to have you here today.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate being here and being part of your beautiful work.
Thank you. And let's start with what you do. Can you share what inner resonance coaching is all about and what inspired you to start this kind of work?
Yeah, thank you so much. Just to start, I'd love to ask your audience a question. How many of you have spent your life doing what other people expect you to do?
Oh my God.
Trying to fit in with whether that's parents, schools, cultures, religious views. Most of us have been socialized into a world where we follow and gain meaning out of what other people have expected of us. And there's
Mhm.
a beauty in that. And in my journey, I've also found the beauty of what it means to deeply listen to our own internal creativity, our own internal voice, especially in those times where who we truly are doesn't resonate with the world around us. And so this work has come out of my own journey of grappling with those points, those sticking points where I didn't feel like I connected or knew how to navigate or knew how to fit in with the world around me. And that limited my ability to connect deeply with others. And so out of that, I learned the beautiful lesson and experience of what it means to deeply listen to the pieces of ourselves that resonate with us. And that's where the name of this work comes from, and why I'm somebody who's so passionate about seeing other people connect deeply to that well of creativity within inside themselves
Right.
and to that voice within inside themselves.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. It's such a meaningful start. I do remember that you mentioned that the birth of your children was also a turning point, and not just personally, but spiritually and professionally. And, I'd love to hear more about that. It seems like, when we are getting that changes in our life, something is opening up. So, could you please talk about that?
Yes. So like so many of us, I was on the track of doing what I needed to do, right, to make a living and to connect with my partner and make my life happen. And I was doing a great job following the rules to try to make that happen. And I had this professional life and my married life and all of that. And when my children were born, first my daughter and then my son. After my son was born, I became a stay-at-home mom, and all these pieces of my identity that I had been building, in a sense, ended. And I came home to just being with my children and meeting their immediate needs, which meant I also came home to just being with me, and started to ask these deep questions about, well, who am I? Who do I want to be in the world? I've been working so hard to play by the rules and do what people need me to do, and be successful, based on those expectations. Is that what I want? And so the birth of my children was, I like to think of it as a portal or an opening,
Mhm.
because in that process, it opened up the wounds for myself of where I wasn't sure that I was, despite my efforts, I wasn't connecting in deep, meaningful ways. My, um, for example, as you mentioned, I'm a transracial adoptee, and so becoming a mother meant I needed to create home and stability for my children, and yet at a very on the first day of my birth, I was separated from my culture and my birth family. And in fact, there's not even any proof of where I was born or
Mhm.
who those people were.
Mhm.
And so those kind of deep questions came up for me. Well, if I'm creating stability to life, to these small lives that I've been blessed with,
Yeah.
what does that mean about my own
Mhm.
sense of stability?
Yeah.
And so it gave me this opportunity to be with me. And
Mhm.
today I find fondly call that period of my life being in the monastery. It was like going, you know, into a monastery, because
Mhm.
it was just me and the divine and my children, right? Like
Mhm.
I wasn't
Yeah.
seeing people every
Mhm.
day, and
Mhm.
it just brought me into this place of opening up, this place of
Mhm.
looking for my own resonance.
Yeah. And you know that, thank you for sharing. And I also want to share that while you were talking, somehow I've got this metaphor like you've got so many locks with no keys. And like you were looking for that keys to open the locks, right? So it's like looking for some meanings, looking for something that can help you to understand who are you. And another thing that actually I ask my clients, the first question is, who are you? And it's not about the titles, right? It's not about the identities that someone else put on them. Like, well, so many of them are sharing with me, well, I am a so and so, like naming their job titles, or I'm a mom. But okay, so let's remove all the pieces. So tell me, who are you? Right? And they are stuck because we are preconditioned, right? We are preconditioned. We are taught to be moms, to be a partner, to be a good worker. But besides that, who are we? That's the question, right? So do you have any hobbies? Do you have any like values? What's important for you as a person? And that's the core, right? And it seems like you were talking about um, the healing process. That healing process is coming within, right? So I'm just wondering, so when someone begins that journey working with you, how do you guide them through it?
I think in some ways similar to what you're saying, it is really asking, who are you? And if you don't have the answer, in my case, I didn't have initially the answer. It's, who do you imagine yourself to be?
Mhm.
What and what brings you joy? What brings you peace in that version of you? Because there is that version of you out there, right? And in that unlocking of that for yourself. So it's really bringing people into sort of a sacred and safe and relaxed environment where there's permission to say, what what does it feel like
Mhm.
to know what my I am is, my
Yes.
who am I
Mhm,
deeply
mhm.
is.
Yeah.
And if it's not, like you said, we have all these layers of socialization. And if it doesn't, we can't just answer that right this
Mhm,
moment,
mhm,
then let's deeply feel into what would that feel like, what would my body say about that, what would my
mhm,
heart say about that, what would my soul say about that, um, what would bring me that feeling good
mhm.
sense of cohesiveness in me. And sometimes we have to imagine it for a little bit
Yeah.
before we can even um, embody it.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, and I love that embodiment, and also this is a personal story behind that. So when I was in coaching, when I was just studying coaching, and then when I was in a certification program, we used that embodiment a lot, and that was my biggest challenge because I didn't understand. Okay, how can I embody that? And then I realized, okay, so there is a connection between our heads and our bodies, and sometimes we're living just here and we're ignoring our body and the words or signals that our bodies are sending us. And that's the art of listening, right? That's the art of understanding. Okay, so what do I want? Right, that's the way to understand. Okay, so my emotions, what are they telling? My body is feeling in this way. Okay, so what's it all this about? Right, and I like that you are bringing all your clients into the being part, into the presence, because when we are present, we have that access to what's important, to what guides us, right? Not like our society or expectations, but what you truly want and what you truly envision for yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, I really connect with that because I like to say to people, we're human beings, not
Mhm.
human doings.
Yes, exactly,
And
this is the
our doingness comes from our beingness. But
Mhm.
so often we've forgotten that, and so often this, like you said, your heart mind connection gets disconnected
Mhm.
because of that socialization or because of the expectations. And our mind is really designed to protect us and to take the
Mhm.
path
Oh, yeah.
that protects us.
Mhm.
So it's a beautiful thing, and we want to thank our mind for all that it does. And the depth of what our mind can do gets enriched when it connects to this presence that you're talking about, and to our heart center, and to who we truly are. It almost like fills out the mind
Mhm.
so that we actually lead our own lives and we don't feel like we're being led by something out there, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
And as we just touched the mind and mindset piece, let me ask you the next question. So I know that you transitioned from nonprofit leadership, right, into intuitive coaching. So two absolutely different worlds in some ways, right? So what was the biggest mindset shift you had to make when you stepped into being a business owner?
so, well, one of the beautiful things of working for any organization is that so many of technical things get taken care of. When you
Oh
run your
yeah.
own business, you have to create those pieces, right? Um there's a lot of skill learning with that, but then connecting your heart to the joy of that learning, and to the joy of actually not knowing, right? Like, hey, this is an exploration, there is a whole new world here. How does that expand me? And the expansion that I'm going through serves me, but it also serves the people that are coming through my door
Hmm.
into my work. Because if I can overcome my unknowns and my fear, um, then that's possible
Mhm.
for other people, right? So that is where I think that was probably the biggest piece for me in shifting to my own business. I think that I had worked, so much of my work has been around sort of identity development.
Mhm.
Uh, in that capacity, it was around cross cultural, moving students and their development through cross cultural adjustment, and the identity of building that, and then how are you participatory in a larger world than just you and just your monoculture, and so moving that into the work of embodiment and in spiritual connection, that my world is out here in front of me and the world we live on, and there's a larger part of me that is supported and supports me in these times of change, when I, whether it's I'm moving from nonprofit work into my own business,
Mhm.
or whether it's navigating in a world that has rapidly changed over the last 10 years. I'm taking myself with that, any of those processes, and coming back to your point of presence and who am I in all of that change.
Mhm.
I had to come back continuously. I consistently have to come back to who am I? What is the infinity part of myself, the love part of myself, that the never changing part of myself, that allows me to navigate the path of change when you
Mhm.
move from one to the other.
Yes. Well, and thank you. This is so deep. And you know that since we are talking about you being so intuitive and energy based, I'm just wondering how you're balancing following your inner guidance with the practical side. And you just mentioned that, actually, when you are working for someone, that technical piece is not on your place, right? It's taken care of. So, how are you balancing that, like the structure, systems, or everyday decisions that come with entrepreneurship?
I ask for a lot of support, because one of the pieces for me is that I do have this neurological condition, and so there's a challenge around spatial capacity, and so structure can be a challenging piece for me, and so I ask for support. I ask for, there's a there's an idea within, there's a beautiful book that talks about actually the gift of dyslexia, and because dyslexia is a beautiful gift of being able to see so many different aspects, but not necessarily adhere to structure, right? And so it's really using, there's a notion of using your outer office. And so
Mm.
one is asking for the support to put those in places. And I know you talk about, um, I mean, we continue to have more and more technological pieces, and I think you talk about this with AI developing, that can support some of these structures. I think that those things can be really important to build the structure. I also, from the intuitive side of things, think of structure as more of the container and maybe the masculine energy that
Mm.
we all have within us, that holds the intuitive flow.
Yeah.
And yes, I lead from the feminine, and so I tend to have more of that intuitive feminine
Mhm.
flow, and so I have to work at it, and I have to ask for the support to build the container, so that that flow can happen with joy. And
Mhm.
I've developed, you have to develop the capacity in that embodiment in your body, in your own physical body, to hold the container for what you're building in the world. And so I do it intuitively. I build it in my body. I welcome structure into my own body, and then I and that fills me up in joy. and fills me up in energy, in my own energy field. And then I I go out and learn the piece I've needed to learn, or I go out and have the conversation that says, "Could you support me in this way?"
Mhm, mhm.
Oh, I'm going to implement this piece that's going to allow the flow to happen.
And well, that's golden because we women, we do not have that, I would say, even capacity to ask for help. Like we pretend or we try to be the person who can figure it out, right? And sometimes we found ourselves stuck or spending so much time dealing with something that actually we can get some help with, right? And it seems like here we are playing with our um, masculine energy, forgetting about our feminine one, right? So, how to lead from your feminine energy and how to use that and uh, not pretending that, well, you are actually not the person who you really and truly are, right? Because again, we were taught like being busy, if you were busy, if your calendar is full of events, and if you don't have any time in your calendar, that means that you are productive, which is not true, right? Especially for us entrepreneurs, right? We have to be focused on what's important and what can move the needle. It's not about just being busy, right? We have to be intentional and present. And again, it's about being and doing. And talking about technology and AI, yeah, we did talk about that last time. But are you using any tech tools or AI that helps you?
At this point, I'm not doing a lot of that.
Mhm,
It's a piece that I'm developing, because so much of my work has really grown organically and through just being and talking with people. And I do see that component coming into my field and coming into my structure a little bit more. Um, and there's just been so much fast development in that area. And so some of it has been to utilize some of it, but some of it is also waiting to see what pieces are really the most effective
mhm,
for the kind of work that I do, and resonate, and not just that's the other piece, right, is to be discerning, not just jump onto any bandwagon, but also to say, oh, where is this piece going to align so that it does become a tool,
mhm,
but doesn't become one more thing that dictates the way I have to change all of who I am, right? That's the piece
mhm,
we don't want
mhm,
people to lose that authenticity
mhm,
when they're building a business, or when they're being creative out in the world. So there's a balancing of
mhm.
building, bringing those pieces in, and also discerning as it moves so quickly what pieces really serve us.
Yes, exactly. And I would say that AI can help you to bring structure to your business, right? But you can structure your creativity because, well, we have so many ideas, but how to structure them, right? How to create, I don't know, even the list of them. It can help you so that you don't have, so many different like pieces of paper everywhere. Well, let's talk about that. Let's write about that. Let's, connect with that person. And I like AI using as a partner who can help me to structure the day, the week, to think about some strategies how to move forward. And also, you just mentioned that you are growing organically by talking to people, and it seems like you are networking a lot. So, can you talk about that?
Yes, I mean, I think we're one of the things about technology is that it's connected us and it's also disconnected us.
Mhm,
And so it takes, and then, we had this whole COVID reality, right, in our lives that really sort of shut down our communication. So it's also sort of an intentionality to
mhm,
be talking directly to people, to build human connection, to also balance out sort of the ease of technology that has also somewhat isolated us, right? And so going out and meeting people, excuse me, in person, talking to people, and that opportunity to just listen to
Mhm.
the juiciness and the joy of people's
Mhm.
lives is really, I I don't want to miss that, right? And to connect in our humanity with one another.
Mhm.
And I think that can be really the value of choosing to go in person, and or even virtually connecting, but one on one, having conversations like we're having conversations in groups of people, so that we're having that human connection that too often can get missed.
Yes. Oh yeah.
And then people also know about us, right?
Mhm.
As
Mhm.
from a place of, again, from our essence, from our our beingness,
Mhm.
right? That feminine energy, versus I'm just performative, or I'm just, that they get sort of a holistic sense of who a
Mhm.
person
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
when you're
Mhm.
directly networking.
Yeah, like they can experience you in action, in being, right?
And you can experience them
Yeah.
in
Mhm.
who they are, and so that it's a co-creative engagement.
I like that. Well, I like that so much. But also, you know that majority of my clients, they experience a challenge when they are there outside, like talking to people. Sometimes they stuck with their message, or they are rumbling and mumbling about what they do, or they're using the experts' words and not the words of their potential clients. So their message is lending good. So, what would you recommend in this case?
This is a beautiful question, because I've struggled with it, you know, for a long time.
Mhm.
There was a time where I was trying to do what all the experts said I should do, and in the process I felt like I was giving my power away. And I wanted to hold on this dilemma of like, well, I want to reach people, but I want to hold on to my authentic truth.
Mm.
And so this is where my work is. I live my work, because, and it's so valuable, again, to come back. Who do you know who you are? Beginning of our conversation, what is it that you feel and know about you? And what is your purpose? What is your joy that you're expressing in the world? And re- I think too often we don't spend enough time there. And when we're spending a lot of time there, then one, that's going to just be in your essence, in your energy field when you're out networking. It's going to come out, even if the words are quote unquote not perfect.
Mhm.
Secondly, when you're so grounded in that, then you can go back to the tools, the marketing tools, the pitch tools, and say, "Oh, well, that's an interesting take on it. How do I get to incorporate it into what I'm already doing? Not that I have to completely change who I am to go do what
Mhm.
someone else told me I should do." It's a very
Yeah.
different energy to then use it as a tool, use it as a perspective, use it. I mean, I think ideally that's what coaching is too, right? Like, we're not asking people to change all of who they are. We're asking them to
Mhm.
go deep into who you really are,
Mhm.
and utilize perspective to say, how does that support? How does that enhance? How does that evolve me? How does that allow my voice to be clearer, stronger? So it really starts, for me, it was really coming back to knowing who I am and
Mhm.
what is that message I want to get out of it. And then returning to some of those tools or effective ways, how do I say it in 30 seconds or whatever it is, and then saying, yes, does that fit for me? No, it doesn't. What piece of it works? What piece doesn't? And then you still are always have your personal agency to choose
Mhm.
how it fits into who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it because when you sound authentically, it's easy for them to get what you are talking about. right? And it's easy for you to be with them explaining what you do because you are not like, you know, shooting some words that you just learn by heart, but you are talking from your heart, explaining how you can help them so that they understand, oh, I need that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the hope is that that really gives the people you're talking to permission to also
Mhm.
be themselves, so they feel, oh wow, I'm safe to connect with this person.
I
They're
love
taking
that.
the time to just talk to me genuinely. they're not
Mhm.
they're not putting on a show here. They're just having a genuine conversation. Wow, that
Yes.
that feels like a breath of fresh air, you know?
Uh-huh. Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Such a great advice. Thank you for that. And to close, if a woman listening right now feels called to more but isn't sure where to start, what would you want her to know? And where can she connect with you and learn more about your work?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think if there's one thing I would say, to women right now, I mean, look out into the world. There's so much changing, and there's so many really challenging, disturbing situations, and it's globally. It's not only in the U.S. It's not only in Gaza. It's not only in Asia. It's all over the world, and we are at a time where women's voices are rising up, and we have to know how to, one, heal the trauma that silenced us,
Mhm.
two, regain that voice, and not spend time waiting for other people to change. That's probably one of my greatest learnings in life. Is there was a time I was trying to convince other people to change, and I was waiting for other people who had more power, more privilege, to shift or change. And this is a time for you. This is a time for us. This is a time for us to reclaim, your divine goddess self, your feminine self,
Mhm.
your power center, your authentic center, and know what it's like, and feel the joy of that. And from that place of your own wholeness, you're then coming to these life situations, from your partnerships to your families to your community work, from a place that's healed, from a place of wholeness, from a place of resourcefulness, so that we then start to change these systems, um, just by us claiming our own voice and our own knowingness and our own creativity, and bringing that to humanity's table.
Yeah.
um, I think that's probably the biggest
Yes.
loss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how you put all that together. And we were talking about heart and being heart centered and present and being whole and authentic. Well, thank you for this conversation. That was such a deep and powerful conversation. And well, oh my God, your story is such a powerful reminder that when we heal and reconnect with ourselves, we create the foundation for a more compassionate and loving world. Right. So it's like we are rising together, but we need to do that from our hearts and we need to find the way back to ourselves. So, if you'd like to connect with Jhorna and explore her work, you can find her through Inner Resonance Coaching, and the link will be in the show notes. You can also follow her on Facebook to stay connected and inspired. And if today's conversation sparked something in you, and if you're ready to connect with your own clarity and confidence, you can take my free quiz to discover what's been holding you back in your business and the next stage of growth that fits your unique strengths. And the link is below. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like, comment, and share this episode so it will help more women find these stories and feel less alone in their journey. I'm Evgenia Baikova, and this is the Inside Out Shift. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next episode. And thank you, Jhorna, for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This was a beautiful conversation.